it was what I needed. To someone else, that may have been a low standard. Oh, you're going Dutch on a date? Low standard. I see it and hear it all the time. And while that may be for you, for me, in my place in my life, that was what I needed. And that's my damn husband now. I'm not here to tell you to go Dutch. I'm not here to tell you not to. I'm here to tell you to think over your life and what's important for you to have in a relationship. Think about what you've been through and learn from that and see where you can make changes moving forward. For me, the change moving forward was understanding that just because he comes walking and talking all good and all that doesn't mean that it's all good. And I said I want something different.
Excuse me, can I please talk to you for a minute?
Hey girlfriends, welcome back to the Hey Girlfriend podcast. I'm your host, Mindset and Intuitive Coach Kendall D. And today we are going to be talking about standards. So I want this podcast to help you to determine what standards are right for you, what's right for your life and the type of relationship you want, and disregard any naysayers out there that may tell you that you have low standards or that your standards are too high. I don't believe really in declaring that for someone else, that, oh, your standards are too low, oh, your standards are too high. Now, I do believe in declaring that when someone comes to me, anyone that I'm coaching or just anyone I know, and they come to me and they say, I don't know why I'm being treated this way. I hate that this is happening and I want this and that. And I don't like how he treats me and how he does that. And I'm always in these bad relationships and all of that. To that, I would say raise your standards. I will declare to someone that you may need to raise your standards. But that is not implying that your standards are too low. It's implying that maybe your standards are not up to where they need to be for you to have the type of experience that you want. That's how I look at it. And that's how I want you to start looking at it. Because sometimes we can get so in our heads that we don't even know what's right for us. We can get so just out of touch with ourselves and what we really want because we're thinking that it's not good enough or it's bare minimum because of what somebody else said or what social media says. And I want you to get away from that and more so get in tune with what it is that you really need for you. What do you want for your life, your relationships? What's important to you? I'm going to make an example that I was watching this reel. Well, it was a reel from a podcast. I was watching it and this girl on there, she's from a girl group. That's not together anymore. That's neither here nor there. I don't know why I'm getting off subject. But I was watching this reel of this girl that I follow. And she was saying how in the beginning when she met her husband, that they're married now. In the beginning when she met him, she knew he was the one because of how well he was treating her. And let me tell you what he was doing for her that stood out to her. To some, it may seem bare minimum or small, but to her, it was everything. So let me explain. She was basically saying that, during that time, she was a struggling artist, so to speak, and he said he didn't know anything about that. He didn't know that she was struggling. But she said that when they went out to eat once, she was just horsing down the food. She was just so hungry, I guess because she hadn't ate. She was a starving artist, literally. And so he took her out to eat, treating her. So she said they were just friends at first, just really cool friends. And so she was just eating, scarfing the food down. And she said he kind of looked at her and was like, without judging, he was like, yeah, you want to get you something to go? Like, you really enjoying the food. You want something to go? And she said she was like, yeah, I want something to go. Because she was like, he don't know all this time that I was really to have no food in my refrigerator. So it was like that, he just offered. And so she was like, okay. And then she said that they went back to his house or something like that. And she said he was really kind. It was like, you can sleep in that other room. You don't have to sleep in my room and stuff like that. He said, stay here as long as you want. And she was so cool with it because she's like, I didn't have a place to go. And she's like, I rarely had anywhere to sleep. She said, I think she said she was couch hopping and whatnot. So he didn't know anything about that. He didn't know that she was struggling. He thought that she was, doing well. Because she was in a girl group, but he, thought she was doing well. And she said those things stood out to her. And so I'm watching it and I'm thinking to myself, like, I've heard some other people say that that's bare minimum, or that's nothing, or that's this and that. And to some, I get it, but I wish that we would stop projecting our own standards and our own ideas on others and just accept that that was what was for her. I mean, it led to her finding her husband. And it was the same with me. I was afraid to tell my story because I was afraid of the backlash. I like peace. I like to share my story and my peace without all the hoopla. I'm not out here trying to be controversial. So I told my story on one of my older podcasts of how we met and that we went Dutch on the first date. And I wasn't expecting to like this man, but I think that's what I needed in the beginning. I needed him to not try to like be so charming. I needed him to just be himself because I had that in the past. And so with him coming in being different, because that's what I was looking for, is different, it was what I needed. It was what I needed. To someone else that may have been a low standard. Oh, you're going Dutch on a date? Low standard. I see it and hear it all the time. And while that may be for you, for me, in my place in my life, that was what I needed. And that's my damn husband now. Been together 8 years. Healthiest relationship I've ever been in. Spoils me. He just took me out to dinner tonight. Bought me drinks, whatever I wanted and all that. And I just sent him my Christmas list with all the shit that I want. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to brag, but I am. I'm just saying that in the beginning, of course, when someone got Dutch, you may think, oh, that's not going to materialize to anything. And it's okay that you have that standard. As long as you understand why you have that standard and why that's important to you and what is the goal and outcome for you with that. I'm not here to tell you to go Dutch. I'm not here to tell you not to. I'm here to tell you to think over your life and what's important for you to have in a relationship. Think about what you've been through and learn from that and see where you can make changes moving forward. For me, the change moving forward was understanding that just because he comes walking and talking all good and all that doesn't mean that it's all good. And I said I want something different. Like my exes, hell, they had cars, their own place, and they even paid for my date. And they weren't shit. Whereas my husband, we went Dutch. He didn't have his own car when I met him. And he lived with his parents. But he was 27 too. And I'm like, I know what it was. I told myself at that time, like, what the hell? Because me and God was here. Me and God had a talk, and I was like, okay, I determined what I want, and I was just like, it don't matter how it come, I'm just ready for it. And that's how it came. And I was like, okay. I had this talk with God, and I was like, okay, so that must mean, I said, just give it a try. I said, hell, all the other exes before, they had all of the things that he didn't have, and it didn't work. Why don't I just try something different? And I went in with the mindset of that, and I wasn't so anxious as well because he wasn't trying to sell me himself. He was just being authentic. And so I had time to be grounded and to think through this. I had time to decide for myself and determine, do I like him? I wasn't feeling pressured and rushed or anxious. I felt calm and grounded, and I actually could think clearly and decide if I liked him. And for some, I think that space of thinking clearly and not being all anxious feels like boredom, or feels like it's not butterflies, or feels like it's not right, or it's not real. But I was in the space of curiosity about it. Like, okay, this is a new feeling, so let me see where it goes. Had I listened to everyone else saying that that's a low standard to go Dutch, you shouldn't do that, this and that and that, I wouldn't have had my husband. Or like you like to say, it would have been your loss. I'm like, it would have been your loss too, though. I mean, So what I'm saying is I want you all to be so confident in yourself and think about what it is you want and what's important for you. It can look like anything. As long as whoever you're dating comes into your life and they make it better, that's a good sign. And the thing is about that making it better can look like various different things. It's wherever your life is at that point. That's another reason why it's important for you to work on yourself, work on your life, and get your life up to par to where you want it to be, so that you can be at the level you need to be to get the type of connection you want. And so I challenge you to really do a survey over your own life and what's important for you, and determine what your standards look like for you. Do not try to gaslight yourself out of them, I guess you would say. Really think about, okay, this is important to me. It doesn't matter what anyone else says or what social media says. This is what I need, and this is what I want it to look like. These are my standards. And as you date, you can change those standards and add to that list. As you date, you're collecting data. Don't let anyone try to tell you that your standards are too low or that you want bare minimum. It could be just right for you. So that's really all I wanted to say on this podcast. Just something quick that came to my mind. And plus my battery's about to die. But that's really all I had to say. If I got anything bonus, as always, it's on my Patreon. I'veBeenThatGirl.net is where you can find all of my links. I'veBeenThatGirl.net, link below. But that's all I got for this podcast episode on standards. I may do a bonus and I may not. I think that's all I got. For real. But anyway, it's on Patreon, if it is. Coaching is also there. Books is also there. Are also there. Books are also there. But that's all I got for this podcast episode, girlfriends. Until the next one, peace out.